So this is the video on how to do the engine oil change and filter on the Vermeer BC1500 with the PSI 5.7 liter V8. Things you're going to need to do the oil change, pretty straightforward. Good to have a crawler to get underneath. There's lots of clearance, so it doesn't need to be lifted or anything like that. Need something to drain the oil into. This thing has 4.5 quarts of 10W30 in it, so not a lot of oil, so something like that should be fine. For the oil change, you want to get correct filter. It's basically just a clone of a GM engine, so this filter right here, PF1218 AC Delco, is the correct one. You want to get decent quality 10W30 engine oil. You want to have a funnel, some shop towels, and I like these gloves. Sometimes they keep you from getting all covered in oil. And other than that, it's good to have obviously a filter wrench to get the oil filter off. But the first step that you want to do before you do anything, before you drain the oil, which is actually really easy, is you just want to warm the machine up, get it up to operating temperature, and then that'll help the oil drain out a lot faster. So let's fire it up here. A little cold this morning, but fired up nice. So I'm just gonna let this warm up, and then we'll get to draining the oil once it reaches like about 165 degrees. All right, machine's been running for a few minutes now. You can see the coolant temperature. It's up to like 168. So the oil should be plenty hot. Just shut her off. And then just remove the key, lock that box up. Just leave the key off to the side. And now the next step is to get underneath it and drain the oil. So we're just under the machine here. I've got the drain pan in place. The nice thing about this is there's a drain tube with an easy valve to open on it. You don't need to get a crescent wrench or a socket wrench and pull out a drain plug. So what you do is you just reach up, grab that tube, pull it down over the drain pan, and then there's a little valve right there that you just flip down. And now that the engine oil is nice and hot, it shouldn't be any issue draining it out. So I'm just gonna grab some gloves because this thing was recently undercoated and is covered in oil. So I'm just gonna grab those and pull that tube down. But basically this tube here, I usually just tuck it up in there. It just hangs like that. Then you just wanna make sure that the pan is directly underneath the tube. And then this is the little valve that I was talking about right here. I hope you guys can see that. You just literally push this in, or pull it out, sorry, and then down, and then watch. Out comes the engine oil straight into the pan. And then we've got the filter right there. I'll move the camera and show you the filter, but basically I'm just gonna let this oil drain for a while, and then we'll pull the filter and get on to filling her back up. So I'm just getting under here to do the oil filter. It's gonna be a pain to try and set the camera up so you can see what I'm doing, but basically the filter is right there with the black bottom. I just have to reach up there with the oil filter wrench and unscrew it. This is the annoying and messy part of the job because it always gets spilled everywhere. But that's next. You gotta get this rubber strap around the filter and then snug it up. And then I think, I can't remember, is it? Yeah, it should be like that. So now I might need the other one, but no, it's working okay. When I put this on, I don't put it screaming tight. So, and because of the way this is all configured, you can't get like a good turn because you've got this like protective cover here. You've got the clutch here. It's just a pain. So you just got to kind of snug it up and just go like a little bit at a time. And that's why when you put the oil filter on, when you're changing it, you shouldn't do it screaming tight because there's no point. It'll seal just fine if you just go as tight as you can get it by hand. It doesn't leak at all. This thing's not been leaking oil whatsoever. And so now I've got it loose enough that I think I could probably do the rest. Yeah, I can do the rest by hand. This is where it's all going to start pissing out and everybody's going to look and think, why the hell are you doing this yourself? And that's a good question. I don't know, I like doing this stuff myself. So you just take this And see, now it's loose. Hopefully you guys can see that. So this is the part where it's going to drip all over me. You just try to unscrew it as quickly as you can, and then watch the oil pour out. There we go. Not too bad. This thing actually has like a handy little place to put the oil filter when it's draining. I lined it up pretty good too, so that's good. So now you're just going to let that drip for a little bit. We'll come back in and put on the new one. So we've got the new filter here. AC Delco GM part. I'm going to just take a little bit of that's a full thing of oil, and then we've got this too, which is new, but it's not full. Just going to take a little in the cap, and I'm just going to rub it on the seal right here. You got to make sure these seals are lubricated when you put the filter back on, or you're going to run into problems. And you want to use clean oil for it. I think that's sort of what you're supposed to do. So I don't prime this, I just put it on empty. I fill up the engine with 4.5 quarts of oil because that's what it calls for. I just run it really quick, turn it off, and then I let it sit for a minute, and then I check the dipstick, and if it's a little low, I'll add a bit, because this probably holds like, I don't know, ½ liter oil or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to lubricate that, and then we're going to put it back on. Got the new filter here, and what I did was I just put it in a box. It's lubricated around that seal, but I've got it in the box so that it doesn't get crap in it when I crawl around under here. And it's pretty easy. It's just a spin on, you know, pretty simple to do for people that are unfamiliar with changing oil, as I was not too long ago. It's good to know how to do this stuff. So, got the seal lubricated, got it in the box. You just don't want to get any crap on it, any kind of debris or anything. Just looking up here at where it's got to go. I always wear my safety glasses when I'm under here, because crap always falls in my eyes when I'm under these things. So just carefully reach up, try not to bump it on stuff and knock any of the debris off. Line it up with the threads, and then just give her a little spin just to get the threads on nice. And then you just snug it up, boom. Get her hand tight, and then some people just get her hand tight, which is good if you can get a good grip, but often it's oily and you can't. So you just grab your filter wrench again. It's important that you don't use one of the steel filter wrenches because it will damage. So you just flip it on the other way like this, and then reach up and just, okay, get her hand tight, snug that strap, and then just try to get her on there. Like, you don't want to go screaming tight, but it's a lot easier than trying to do it by hand. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Of course I am. Going the wrong way. Anyway, okay, sorry. Real-time mistakes, everybody. I don't know if I can even get her on. Wonder if I can just kind of. Yeah, well, this is always a little trickier than I anticipated. Pull her super tight if maybe I can get just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of purchase. That's all we need. That's all we need. Just a little bit of purchase. Just hold that strap tight. Okay, that's got to be good now. I don't think I can get her any tighter than that by hand. And a couple turns and we're good. So now that filter's on, I can, and it's drained too. So because it's drained, what I'm gonna do is close this valve here, and we'll tuck that hose back up in there, and then we will fill her up with some fresh oil. Let's usually tuck the hose up in here. I'm getting completely covered in crap, but whatever. All right, so machine's all ready to get new oil in it. This is the funnel that I use. Flow it out with compressed air, and then I wipe it out with a shop towel, make sure it's squeaky clean. And then we're going to put it in the engine bay there. I'm going to show you where that needs to go. Basically, we take that little cap off, throw the filter or the funnel in, and then just fill it up with 4.5 quarts of 10W30. And then once it's full of that, fire it up quickly, get a bit of oil into the oil filter, and then let it settle for a minute, check the dipstick, add a little if we need to, and then we're good to go. Alright, so I got the funnel cleaned off. It's in the oil cap hole, don't know what you call it. Anyway, this is 5 quarts here, so I'm gonna add most of this jug. It's got a little sight glass on the side, so you can see how much you've put in, but it's pretty much most of the jug. I'm pretty precise about this stuff, just because you don't want to screw it up. So yeah, just add it a bit at a time because it'll spill out if you go too fast. That should be good. Then I'll check it, look in here, how much is left. I've got a quart left, so that means I put about 4, just shy of, or just a little more than 4 in. So I'm just gonna put a little more until I got about a half a quart left, and then I'll fire it up and check it. That's about, yeah, it's about half a quart left. So that's good. So I'm just going to fire it up quickly now that I got the oil in the engine, and then I'm just going to shut it down. Just let that oil filter fill up, let it all kind of cycle through, and then let it settle for a second. There we go. All right, now that I've fired it up, I'm just going to pull the dipstick, wipe it off, and check the oil level. It's going to be kind of covered in oil, but it settles pretty quick. So wipe it clean with the shop towel. See here, you've got the operating range. You want it right up to the top when it's cold, but you don't want to go over, you don't want to overfill it. Okay, where are we here? Still looks low. Now that could be because there's still some oil in the engine. It's still above the add line, but it probably needs another half a quart or so, something like that. Still looks a little bit low. So going to put that back in, take another reading, see if it's any higher. Yeah, see, it's creeping a little higher. So whatever was in the motor is clearly working its way up the dipstick, but it probably needs a little more oil than that. I am going to wait 5 minutes, check it again, and then probably add a bit more. Just pulled the dipstick again after a few minutes, and it's looking pretty high. That probably is a function of the engine oil returning, pooling at the bottom. Let's see where we're at. No, it's still a little on the low side. It's kind of midway up the operating range. Probably need to add a bit more to account for that that filter that I don't prime with oil when I put it in. So add a bit more and see where we end up. So I topped up the oil, and I'm just checking it again here. I let it sit for a little bit just to let everything kind of settle into the oil pan, and we'll just have a look and see where we're at. It's hard to see just because it's so clear, but it's right just beneath, maybe right at the full line. Maybe a touch low on this side, but some oil is probably still going to settle. So I've added the 4.5 quarts plus some for the oil filter. I'm good to leave it like that for now, and then usually I just check it the next day and just see where it's at in the morning, and if I think it's a little bit low, then I'll add a touch more, but we're right where we need to be. So that's it. That's how you change the oil in this 5.7 liter PSI gas engine on this Vermeer BC1500.